Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to create a setup which will help with animating dual mag reloads. It's pretty straightforward. We just have to have a dummy control here following our gun, and we're going to have the left hand and both mags following that dummy control, but we can always swap back to following the gun whenever we want throughout the animation. So in the scene right now, I have everything following the gun. The left wrist is constrained and both mags don't have constraints, they're just part of the rig and automatically following the gun. I'm going to create a locator. You can use a control or a bone if you're in Blender. The principles still apply. I'm just going to use my align tool and I'm going to place a locator at the position of the second mag. Having the dummy in the same position as one of your controls makes it a little bit easier for lining things up, but you don't have to. It can be anywhere really, as long as it's a pivot point that you're happy to animate from. So I'm going to give that a rename to dummy, and then I'll group it, give the group a name, then select the master control for the gun, the dummy group, constrain. So that means the dummy is now following the gun. Then we want both mags and the left wrist to be following the dummy. So I'm going to start with selecting the dummy, mag 1 group, constrain, dummy, mag 2 group, and then dummy and left wrist group. Now, if you select the constraint for the left wrist, you can see we have both constraints on there, so the gun body and the dummy. We don't want them both at the same time. We're going to swap between them. So I'm going to turn it off on the dummy for now, so it's just following the gun. We also want the dummy to not be following the gun to start with, so that the mag 2 just stays at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to turn off the dummy constraint here. And then from that, we'll want the mag 1 to be following the gun. So we're going to go into that constraint and turn it off. Alright, I'll give you a quick example of how I'd animate this. It's going to be quick and dirty, not a fancy animation at all, just an example. I'm going to start with keying the dummy on frame 0 just so that it's in this position. On frame 10, we'll give it a mag out pose, something like this. Key that, and we're going to have the left wrist reach down for the new mag, somewhere off screen. I'm going to move the dummy into position. So we want the mag 2 to be in the left hand, but we're not going to be moving the mag control itself. We'll move the dummy instead. Now what we want to do is start having the left wrist also follow the dummy, so we can bring it up to do the dual reload. So I'm going to go into the constraint of the left wrist and I'll key both of these weights. I'll also make sure that the left wrist is keyed. Now we don't want the left wrist to be teleporting anywhere when we switch the weights, so I'm just going to copy its world position. We'll make sure that it's keyed on frame 10 and go to frame 11, then swap it. Key those, and then go back to the left wrist and paste its position back and key that. So now in frame 10, it's following the gun. In frame 11, it's following the dummy. Now we can animate the dummy coming up for the dual mag reload. Let's go to frame 20 and animate the dummy coming up. So now that this is in a good position, we can see if we move this, it's not following. So we want the dummy to now follow the gun while it's on screen. So we're going to go to the dummy constraint, key it, and the next frame, remember we want to copy its position, and then turn on the weight and key that. Then we'll select the dummy again and paste its position back, key it. So from frame 20 to 21, it's swapped from being in world space to following the gun. And now we can animate this doing whatever we want. Okay, so now I want both mags and the hand to be moving together. So we're going to switch the main mag from the gun to the dummy. I'm going to key the mag and key the constraint, go to the next frame, copy the mag's position, key the constraint on, and then paste its position back and key it. Now if we move the dummy, everything follows, and it's still going to be following the gun. Now we can animate the dummy doing the reload action. Now the handy thing about having your dummy in the same pivot point as one of your mag controls is it's easy to line things up when you're placing in your new mag. I'm just going to go to frame 0, and if you have Animate or my align tool or some other tool, you can select the mag and the gun body and copy their relative relationship. Then if we go back to frame 40 when we're trying to line in the new mag, we'll paste in that relative relationship and it will be lined up perfectly where the mag should be inserted. We can key that. And now this is where we want the new mag to be following the gun instead of the dummy. So we're going to be keying those weights. Frame 40, we'll key that to 1. Also make sure that mag 2 is keyed. Then we'll go to frame 41 and we will copy the mag's location, turn off the weight and key it. select the mag again, and then paste in that location, and key. Now if we move the dummy, the hand and the old mag can be removed and the new mag stays in the gun. So now that we've moved the dummy off screen, we want the left hand to return to the gun. And since the dummy is following the gun, we could just animate it coming back, or we could swap the constraint back just so that we can line things up nice and easy and turn off the dummy so that it's staying off screen and not jiggling around whenever we rotate the gun. So I'm going to key the dummy constraint, turn off the body on frame 51. Remember, we want to copy its position. Turn off the weight, key it, and then paste its position back. Now the left hand, we want to turn off of the dummy and back to the gun. So I'm going to make sure that it's keyed on frame 50, copy its position, constraint, key both of these, go to frame 51, swap them around, and key. And then we can paste the wrist control back to its position. And then finally, we'll go to frame 60 and set the keys back to the same as 0 so that it goes back to idle. Alright, and with a couple extra keys in the gun to make it not super ugly, but here's how it's looking. So the left hand comes down, grabs the dummy and the new mag, comes up, and then we swap. So all three are following the dummy. And then we place the new mag into its position, and then have the old mag follow the hand off screen. The hand comes back, and we're done. So just like that, with a dummy control and a couple constraint swaps, you have a dual mag reload that's pretty straightforward to do once you get the hang of it. Happy animating!